Hi guys, how are you? I'm gonna start my first lecture. I will explain the slide that I have given on the site, and I hope you will understand it. And if you guys don't understand it in the first time, in a single time, try it again and again, and repeat with my lecture again, and try to get the points what I'm saying. The first lecture is that are the fundamentals of web programming. Mean you know that what are the basics for the web programming. Before we start making a program, before we start our programming, we have to know some things about the web. There are different things, and then I will explain. First of all, the outline is that in this course, in this lecture, we will study about that web and why web is used, and the web-based programming, the client-side programming, and the server-side programming. Web, web or internet is almost the same. Web, web, an internet is a wide area network or a global network, and a web is the technology used to share each other resources and an internet. As you know that what are the networks? Networks are used to share each other resources. The resources may be software or hardware, and you may, for example, for an instance, we can use a server program that is stored on the server, and many of nodes and many of the clients use that program. Now let me explain the web, why web is used. And web is also the technology that is used to share each other resources, as explained in the site. So while we use the web, or when a user is using a web, he use different type of protocols. Web use different type of protocol for its operations. That is the HTTP protocol, which is explained as hypertext transfer protocol, the FTP, which means that the file transfer protocol, and SMTP, simple man transfer protocol, the POP, we will explain it later, and many more. So the varies of for a different operation means that every while we are requesting for a page, we use the HTTP protocol. While browsing web pages, we use the HTTP protocol. While uploading a file, we use FTP protocol, and while transferring a mail, we use the SMTP protocol or the POP protocol. Web, why web? The importance of web is when we want to make our documents online to other people's for the use. Mean that I have a software. Let me explain, guys. I have a software on my system, and my system is a server this time. So the every computer that is connected me to a network can use that software. If I have shared it, they can use it, the software. No, but I don't want that. I want to. I want everyone. I want the whole world to use my software, to view my page. Let me explain. A web page is an example of the online document. Mean that a web page is accessible by everyone. If there is no restriction on a web page, that is accessible by everyone. For example, Google or Facebook, the Yahoo, and the many other websites. These are examples of the online documents which are placed on the web for that purpose, that everyone can go through it, can use it, and can get information from that. So that is why we use the web. And now there are a lot of web technologies. Before we are going to this client to this programming, we should know there are two type of programming, the client side programming and the server side programming. So the client side technologies are that which are used to develop the user interface or the design which that the user will be watching. For example, I am going to create a design for the user interface for the input areas, and for the text fields, and for menu, and for the navigators, and for the footer and header. I will explain it that later. The technologies that are used for the client-side programming is then HTML, that is known as a hypertext markup language, the CSS known as cascading style sheets, and the JavaScript that is not Java. Mean that JavaScript and Java differs from each other. They differs because the Java is a server-side programming. I will explain this later in the next slide. And that is the JavaScript is the client-side programming usually designed, usually used for the events handling and the user interface and the form controls and the navigation controls and web page control, all that a user can see. That is all the client side programming. Now we move to the server side programming. So the server side programming, the technologies that use to perform the server side task, for example email, database driving, user authorization and registration, and much more. For example, I'm going to a Facebook. I'm using Facebook, and you guys, a lot of people are using the Facebook. If you see it, if you ever have noticed that before we are going into the Facebook, we are required to give our username or our email address and our password. What is that? That is a database driving. I entered I entered my username and my password. After that, when I use sign in button, when I press it, my name and email address and my password go to the database, and they are watched and they are compared with certain values. If it returns true, they make me enter and they'll let me enter to the site. That is called database driving. And the user authorization is the same thing as I explained, and the registration when we are going to sign up for our web page, and the email address, as you know that what is the email. So the technologies that are used for the server-side programming are PHP. PHP means pre-hypertext processing. This will be the title of our course, that we will study the PHP programming. And ASP.NET is the set of Microsoft technologies that use C hash, and the ASP technology is also used as with the VB.NET or C++.NET, and Java server pages. Java server pages. Now this is the main difference between the JavaScript. This is the main difference between the JavaScript that I explained in the last slide, and this is the Java server pages are used for the server-side programming. So let me finish it. Our first lecture is finished. So I hope you got that all. In the next lecture, inshallah, we will go through the next and we will start our practical programming with the PHP, and I will tell you how to set up your PHP environment and how to develop a website, a good website, and what are the prerequisites for this course. And but the people who don't know about the client side languages should not be worried. I will explain it later. Thank you.